Okay, we're going to solve an octordle, which is 8 wordle grids together. And the interesting thing about octordle is you have 13 guesses total, like all the multi-ordles. It's number of grids plus 5. So you have to do 8 correct answers somewhere there. So you have very little opportunity to make a wrong guess. You have to really focus on either adding a lot of letters or making correct guesses. So I'm going to start with stare, which is a good starting word. It has the most common vowels and 3 common consonants. The interesting thing about octordle is you're not as interested in the correct letters at this point. You're more interested in the letters you haven't guessed yet, because with octordle it's likely that you'll use all the vowels eventually, etc. So you don't really worry about being super efficient at the beginning. But also you're most interested in letters like this S that are in the wrong place but are in the word, and ideally in as many words as possible. And you want to focus. Your second guess is ideally a mix of 3 new letters you haven't guessed, so I, O, N, L, some of those category, but possibly also moving around a yellow letter if it's yellow in a lot of words. So let's look and see what our yellows look like, ignoring the greens actually for now. So there's an S out of place there, R and E out of place, A, an S out of place, an R and E out of place, an S out of place, a T and an E. So it looks like S and R are most commonly out of place. Now S likely goes here. That's pretty common. And at the beginning, it's often followed by an E. This word probably ends in SE. So I'm less interested in the S actually. But the R here, that's out of place, there and there, and the T that's out of place, there and there are interesting. So we're going to say, let's try to get something with maybe an R and a T, and then some of the other letters I talked about that are not in there already. So I think I'm going to try a print, which has R and a T moved around, and the R is often, second place is a good start for an R, a good place for an R, and then brings in PI and N, which are very common. So we got, okay, so that's STIN. So the interesting thing about this is, in Octordle, is it's approach like a 50-50 guess, stink or sting, I think, from looking over. But in Octordle, you do not want to do 50-50 guesses, at least not yet. What you want to do is keep that in mind. You have the G versus K distinction, and maybe use G or K in a more speculative word, or maybe you'll have a G or K just show up naturally in a correct word somewhere else. And then you can just know, okay, this is sting or stink based on what happened with the other one. But don't waste a guess. You don't have guesses to waste on 50-50. Try to get those letters in from some other place. So here we have, okay, the R is moved around. Again, it's useful to move right around, even if you don't get it correctly. It's still useful. So, okay, now there's fewer places the R could be. This is IT with an S. Probably the S is there because it's unlikely to be in the second position. There's another place for it. So we can consider this to be IST, but without an R, so it can't be wrist. So we can think about what that could be. And here we have IR. Okay, again, the E is not there. So it's probably unlikely to be here, so it's probably here. EIR blank, EIR blank. So there's a point at the third choice in Octordle is actually you have to make a key decision. Is do you start guessing words, or do you just do another move letters around, bring in the O and the L and whatever, the stuff we haven't played yet. And you really have to make a choice. If you're pretty sure of a word, like essentially 100% sure of a word, then you can guess it. So we can look at this word and say, okay, the E's not at the end. I said I can't imagine it being, I can't think of a word what goes in the first. So it's EIR blank, EIR blank. And the question is, there a word other than weird that could go there? And I can't think of one, which probably means there is one, but I'm willing at this point to guess weird. Just bring in a W and D. W is a little unusual, but the D is not. Put the E in another place. Maybe it'll hit this E, or this E will be in the third position. But again, you got to make a choice here, and I'm willing to go with weird if I can spell it properly, and hopefully it'll be green, and now we haven't wasted a guess. So that's great. So we got weird. We also know the E. Again, there's another choice for the E. And you might think, well, this is a waste. But again, the E is not... Oh, the E is at the end here, so we know that one's fake. I was going to say, otherwise we know something about the E. But in fact, this one we know somewhat about. The T is very likely to be here. So it's blank ATE. But I'm sure there's several choices for that, at least for now. I'm not going to worry about it. Here we have, as I said, probably blank IST. Now, there's no W, right? So that's interesting. It's not wrist, but I guess we know it wasn't wrist because of W. So maybe this will be the next one we could look at. There might be a fairly small set of words this could be with blank IST at the end. Up here, this is W. It's very interesting. So we'll maybe come back to that. Again, it could probably WER at the end, but could be rower, cower, lower, mower, bower. There's a bunch of words here that could be. So again, hopefully we'll get some of those letters from other stuff. And then up here, okay, no news on the sting versus stink distinction. So now look at this word. It's probably OIST, but of course you got joist, and everyone's favorite word, moist, and hoist. So not ready to guess yet, but keep those in mind. So it might be time to do another kind of word that brings in the O and brings in some of these other choices. So maybe try to get an M or an H or a J, but maybe an M or an H, and then the KG thing, right? So we're to say had a G, an O, an H, would be useful here to try to get some more placement. And as I said, in Octordle there's probably going to be a U. It's unusual never to have a U if you look through these words. This one could have all its vowels. It could just be two E's, but likely it has a U, one of a Y, since there's an E at the end already used up. This one, again, could be where, no, it won't be where, but it could have used all its vowels, but probably there's a U in there somewhere, and certainly an O. So I think a word like hokum, H-O-K-U-M, it might get us to moist. If the M and the O hit, it would resolve the sting versus stink distinction. And we've already gotten a word right. So we're on track to get it in 11, which is always the goal in Octordle, is try to get an 11. So let's go with hokum, plus it's such a lovely word. Okay, so there is no K, but that's good. Now it could also, it's not stint, which is the other, I think, word that actually has this pattern, because we know the T is not there. So let's go with stink here. I mean sting, sorry. And a G again is a useful word to get, so we got sting there. And there is a U here. This is, well, it's not, it's almost certainly O-U. The U is not going to go here, can't go here, it's got to be here, O-U, and the S is here, so it ends in O-U-S-C, guaranteed. In fact, let's see, well, it's not mouse, and it's not house, so I guess it's louse, right? Unless there's some other weird word that I don't know of, which has the O-U-S-C pattern. So that's great. We've got sting, we got louse, and we've got some word down here. Weird. So let's see where we are with these other words. Okay, this one has a G. Okay, that's great. Because the G, I mean, it could go at the beginning here. But that would be great, which it doesn't have an R. Could go here. Let's see. This is a little tricky. Let's think about it. If it goes here, then the T has to be here. T blank A-G-E. I can't think of anything. And of course, remember, you have to think about doubling the words. The potential letters, potential letters in here are all the letters that are not used, plus G, and T. Those are potential consonants for this. So it can't be G-R-A-T-E. I don't see another G blank A-T-E word. As I said, the T is unlikely to go here. T blank A-G-E, T-J blank. So I think this is agate, A-G-A-T-E. That fits everything, brings in a G, and obviously we're just doubling the A. So I'm going to take a chance on that again. I can't think of any other word that it can be. Right, so we got agate, and that's great. Maybe we hit something else. Let's look over here. This is our famous joist, moist, etc. Okay, well, it's not moist, and it's not hoist. It could be foist, unfortunately. and it could be Joyce. So again, we'll hope that a J or an F comes up, and that'll distinguish it from something else being only having one choice. This word here, let's see, RS, E can be here, but there's no H, so RES. There's no T. It could end in SS though. It could be cress. Yeah, I can't see it being ER blank S something. I think eros is a word, but there's no O and there's no E at the end. So I think this probably ends in RESS. And there's no D. There's no P. We know we used P earlier. So I think the only possible letter here is cress. So again, let's try it. Okay, that's good. So we got 1, 2, 3. So nothing on the joist. What is it? Joist, foist controversy. Although I'd probably go with joist. It's just a more common word. Oh look, a C came through here. That's really good. We got it first try. And this is, and there's an A, so it's CO, and the A can't go here, so it's CO blank RA. Okay, well that's, I think, cobra. We got cobra, so how are we doing here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's really good. We got 6, and we've only used, what, 10 guesses. So no, we've used 9 guesses. So we're on track to get an 11, which, as I said, is the goal. We've got 2 left. So this one, and then our little joist moist, no, joist foist, whatever it is, candidate. Okay, so let's skip this one for now and go up here. So this has it's O-E-R. I mean, it's M-O-W-E-R, right? Is the letters, right? There's 5 letters already shown, and so pretty clear. I mean, the R is at the beginning or the end. The E is got to be here. What I'm trying to say is it's mower. And now we're left with our 50-50 guess on joist or foist, and I'm going to go with joist just because I think it's a more common word, but foist is a word, so let's cross our fingers here. And of course it's not joist, which is annoying, but what are you going to do? So we'll get in 12, but I said it came down to a 50-50, and there just wasn't any opportunity to distinguish the J or the F early on, so be it. So we got it in 12, which, as I said, is a fine result for Octordle, and we almost got an 11.